Check 1 2. Check 1 2 3. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this live English lesson. We'll get things started in just a sec and see how things go. Looks like everything is working the way it's supposed to. We'll get started in 30 seconds. There is some sort of community point system in the chat today. It's new to me. I didn't know it was there. Apparently, if you chat a lot, you can get an extra little crown beside your name. And if you look at the top of the chat, there's a little button that says community, which shows the scores. I'm not sure it has really updated much, but everything seems to be working. Yeah. 2, 1. Well, hello and welcome to this English lesson about describing people's flaws. If you were here 2 weeks ago, we talked about virtues, the things that we admire in people, the things that make people good, the things that make people virtuous, if I could be allowed to use the word to define the word. But today, we're going to talk about flaws. We're going to talk about things like laziness, the things that aren't desirable in people, the characteristics that aren't desirable in people. These might be things that drive you crazy or you find aggravating or annoying. So today we're going to look at about 30 flaws and how we use them to describe people. So once again, welcome to this English lesson about describing people's flaws. Yes, there is some sort of system of ranking in the chat. It's new to me. I didn't know anything about it. Apparently it updates if you chat. That's all I know. So let me go back and say hi to a bunch of people. Hi to Lolly Lolly, Azam John, Hite, American English with Brent. Hi, Brent. Good to see you. Mode Ags, JP, Know That, Key Park, Hafiez, Himoshi, Pear, Kenya, Lolly Lolly. Let me go back some more. Vitor, Judith. Scrolling back, Wanda Prado is here as well. Let me keep going. I think Vitor is in the lead right now, although I wouldn't go crazy. Hi, Freddie Wolf as well, and to everyone else. By the way, Nightbot is here, and there is a link, and I've already pinned it. If you have a question during this lesson about the lesson, please use that link to ask it. I'm just going to take a moment to check my focus. I think it's focusing. Yeah, it's focusing. And check my audio. Yeah, I think everything's working the way it's supposed to. I'm getting this is all tangled up. So let me just tidy up over here and we will get started. Here's a few things you need to know. Number 1, if you have a question, use the link. Number 2, use the chat to have fun and enjoyable conversations with each other. Number 3, don't forget to rewatch this lesson at some point in time. I do want to put a plug in just quickly for my last lesson. I did a lesson this past week on going to a bunch of outdoor places, and people did enjoy it. So if you haven't seen it, there is a link in the chat for that as well. But should we get started? I think we should. Here we go. Impatience. Frustration when things don't go quickly enough. Now, you'll need to listen closely during this lesson because I'll use the word and it describes a characteristic, but then I'll use it in a slightly different way when I say someone has that characteristic. So listen closely. Impatience is frustration when things don't go quickly enough. But when you say a person has this, you say they are impatient. He is impatient. It ends with a T then. So be careful. You'll have to listen to as I switch from the descriptive form to the adjective form. So he is impatient. The impatient person kept checking their watch. So am I impatient? Am I guilty of this one? Absolutely. I put this one first because this is the flaw that I probably have the most. So when we talked about virtues, I was humble. Today, I will be honest with you. Impatience. I am very impatient. I don't like it when people are late. I don't like it when people slow me down. It's probably why I like working by myself, because I am an impatient person. I have a lot of impatience. Stubbornness. I also have this one, refusing to change your mind or attitude. And this is kind of an interesting one because I do like change, but I also am very stubborn. So sometimes I don't like a new idea. Sometimes I would rather keep doing something the same way. A good example of this is after I have a shower, I put my towel in the same place every day. If Jen suggested that I hang my towel somewhere else, I wouldn't want to. I put my Fitbit by my computer in the same spot every evening. I'm very stubborn. I wouldn't want to change where I put that. So stubbornness, refusing to change your mind or attitude. I could have put a picture of myself there if I wanted to. Jealousy, feeling resentment because someone has something you don't have. I don't have a lot of this. The reason I don't have a lot of this is because most of the things I enjoy are digital, and I have a lot of those things. Let me explain. I really like having a good computer, and I've always had a good computer. I have no desire to drive a sports car. I would rather drive an old van that's really rusty. So for me, I don't have a lot of jealousy because the things I want in life are actually not very expensive. I like walking, and it doesn't cost anything. So I'm not jealous of someone who is a really good athlete because I enjoy walking, and that's good enough for me. But jealousy, when a person is jealous, means that you are annoyed. You feel resentment because someone has something that you don't have. I think it's easy to feel a little bit of jealousy when you see wealthy people, but it's best to learn to enjoy what you have. That's the secret to life, by the way. Procrastination, putting things off until the last minute. So when you procrastinate, when someone decides to procrastinate, so I'm flipping it into a verb now, it means they do something the night before. They do something an hour before. This happens sometimes with someone I know when it comes to packing for a trip. I like to pack for a trip very early, and this person I know likes to procrastinate. They usually pack the morning of, and I like to pack the day before. So procrastination, putting things off until the last minute. And if you use it to describe a person, you would say they tend to procrastinate, or they procrastinate all the time. So you can see this person is just sitting there on their phone, and they should probably be doing something, but instead they decided to procrastinate. Arrogance, thinking you are superior to others. I thought it was hard to find a picture for this one, but I think this one does it nicely. It's like kind of like head tilted, like I am arrogant. So notice I'm flipping the word again. So arrogance refers to thinking you are superior to others. You would say she is arrogant or he is arrogant, meaning they just think they're better. The best example of this is in the professional sports world. There are athletes who are very humble. They're amazing athletes, and they're always like, I'd like to thank my mom and dad. They're very humble. But there's other athletes who are arrogant. I won't mention any names, but they feel like they're just the best player in the league, and they have no problem saying that to people, that they are the best. Dishonesty, telling lies and being untruthful or deceptive. So a virtue is honesty. You could say Joe is a very honest person. You could say Fred is a very dishonest person. Dishonesty means you don't mind lying. You don't mind not telling the truth. You don't mind saying things that didn't actually happen. You are dishonest. So again, dishonesty, definitely a big flaw. My fault is that I'm too honest, but like not in a nice way. Like I will tell someone to their face something that I think is true, even if it might hurt their feelings. So anyways, dishonesty is not something I have, but I have a lot of honesty, but it's not always a virtue. I hope you understand what I mean. Dishonesty, telling lies and being untruthful or deceptive. Laziness, unwilling to work or avoiding effort or responsibility. I see this every day. Some students are not lazy. They are hardworking. That would be the opposite. Some students are lazy. I'll be honest. Obviously, I will not mention any names. That would be very unprofessional, and you don't know my students anyways. But laziness is an unwilling or being unwilling to work or avoiding effort or responsibility. I am lazy sometimes. I do have laziness sometimes, but it's usually when I'm not feeling well. And so I feel like it's okay in that situation. I think when you are feeling under the weather, when you're not feeling 100%, it's actually important to be lazy for a day. So your body can help you fight off and recover from whatever you are battling. Short-tempered, getting angry easily. Believe it or not, I have this flaw. It doesn't show up very often. It shows up when I'm not well rested, when I'm hungry, and when I haven't exercised regularly. Then I am short-tempered. So this simply means getting angry easily. In this picture, you can see the man in the blue shirt looks surprised because the man in the red shirt probably got angry very quickly. A long time ago, I had a boss who was short-tempered, and that was not a nice situation. He easily got angry at the smallest things. It's not enjoyable to be with someone who is short-tempered every day. It's actually quite challenging. Selfishness, prioritizing one's own needs above all else. And you can see the checklist here. It says me, me, me. I think we all know someone who is selfish. Notice selfishness is prioritizing one's own needs above all else. You would then say a person is selfish. He is a very selfish person. Selfish people try to get to the front of a line. If there's a line, they try to get to the front. A selfish person would take the biggest cookie from the plate of cookies and might even take 2 cookies. Here's a good example. Let's say there's a plate of 6 cookies and there are 10 people in the room. A selfish person might take 2 cookies, even though that means someone won't get one. That wouldn't be very kind or nice at all. Hey, let's look at some questions. Hopefully they show up on the screen. There's a lot of chatting going on. I see that. Oh, I see. People are using the community feature. Let me have a look at that. So it says Vitor's in the lead and then John Wedge, but I don't think the leaderboard has updated. Let me refresh my screen to see if that updates it. No, but certainly there's something going on. Vitor's still in the lead. Oh, thanks for the super chat, Brent. Thank you very much. Let me put a thumbs up on that. And thanks. Oh, member for 61 months. That's very cool. Thanks for being around that long. Are the questions not showing up? They should show up. Hopefully they show up on the screen. They're on my screen. So I wonder why they're not on your screen. That's a little bit strange. Let me just check something here for a sec. Oh, there they are. They just popped up on the feed. Good. Okay. Let me look at, there's only a few questions. Let me answer them. From Know That, hello Bob, personal question. Which of these character traits flaws do you like the least or do you find most annoying in others? Thanks in advance, Bob. When I'm in a work mode, I don't like working with someone who has a lot of laziness. I don't like it when someone else is impatient, even though I am. And I think there's one coming up. It's manipulative, someone who tries to control other people. I find that very, very annoying. Very, very annoying for sure. Yeah, I don't think the ranking has changed. Hafia says blank side screen. Yeah, I think it's working now. It's popped up now. Yeah, the questions are there. Let me go back here. There are a lot of us tied at 75 XP. Yeah, I wonder if it's in beta testing or something. I wonder if that's what's happening there. Because Vitor has 170. I wonder if it's all the scores from before. From Sakagero, hello, dear teacher Bob. Could I ask you, have you ever known someone with full pack of flaws you've taught us today? I know 2 people that I've met in my life that have a lot of these. And I don't want to comment too much on it, except that it is very, very difficult, very, very difficult to work or hang out with that person. From Judith, hi Bob, how many flaws do you have on an average basis? A little fixed to base basis, thank you. I have probably all of these to a certain degree. I think if you were to say on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being that you don't have the flaw very much at all, and 10 being that it's very strong, I think you could go through all of these. All of us could do this and say, okay, on impatience, I'm a 9. I have a lot of that. Stubbornness, I'm a 9. Jealousy, I'm a 2, maybe a 3. Procrastination, I'm actually a 3, maybe. Arrogance, I think a 2. But then if I say that, do I sound arrogant? I'm not sure. Anyways, that's how I would rank. Judith says, hi, Bob. As I have a question not related to the topic, please answer me in the comment section. Thank you. I will take a look at that later, and I will answer your question. Let's see here. From use common sense, fellas, related to sometimes you feel like you are doing the right thing, but someone intentionally wants to guilt trip you to control something in your life. What you think, Bob? So this would be an example of someone who is manipulative. Let's say your friend is having a birthday party, but your family is having something more important, and you have to go to be with your family. Your friend might say, oh, so you don't want to come to my party? Oh, you don't like me anymore? So your friend tries to guilt trip you to make you feel guilty. And I think that would be an example of someone who is a little bit manipulative. They're trying to control you in a manipulative way. Let's see here in the chat. John Wedge talking to Brent. Oh, baby's doing well. Clever girl. If you have an address like Bob, I can send a pic. Oh, yeah, you should send him a pic. That'd be cool. I think Vitor has a contract. That's why he's in the lead. Vitor, the theory is Vitor works for YouTube. Possibly. We'll have to see. But yeah. I wonder if when Nightbot came in, if that disabled something. I have no idea. It's just my theory at this point. Let's see. Okay. If you're one of the 208 people watching, please click the subscribe button somewhere. If you would like to be a member, click the join button. It might actually say subscribe plus, and you can explore a little bit. Freddie Wolf, thanks for the super chat. Juste un petit rien pour toi. Thanks a lot. It's for the new computer fund. Thank you. Someone helped out. I think that was, oh, sorry, I forgot who super chatted me last time to help with the computer. That was a very generous super chat. I shouldn't have forgotten that. I can probably look it up later. It might have been Hafiez. I feel guilty now. Like I feel like I should look this up to see who super chatted me. Supers, here we go. It was Hafiez, yes. Thank you very much for that. And thanks, Freddie Wolf, for your contribution as well. And thanks to John Wedge for gifting William Lopez with a membership. So William, you have full membership privileges, I think for 30 days. I think that's how it works. Very cool. Okay. Back to the lesson. Let me find the correct screen that I need to have open. Too many screens open, Bob. Here we go. Insecurity, constant self-doubt or need for validation. What this means is that you're unsure of yourself. If a person is insecure, they doubt everything. They aren't sure how to get somewhere. They don't know if when they go to a job interview, they think there's no way I'm going to get the job. There's no way they will like me. A person who is insecure lacks confidence. So a virtue is to be confident in a positive way. A flaw would be to have insecurity, to be insecure and to constantly have self-doubt, to think you can't do something, and constantly wanting people to tell you that you're good at something. Am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? A good example is when you teach someone to do something, if they're doing it right, but they keep asking you if they're doing it right, they are most likely suffering from insecurity. Judgmental, I have this one. When you are judgmental, you quickly criticizing others would be the definition. So someone who is judgmental, a judgmental person is really quick to criticize others. And I said I have this. You obviously don't see this online. And obviously this happens when I'm in a bad mood, or when I'm not getting along with someone. I might point out things about them that are not nice things to say. So yes, Bob the Canadian is a judgmental person, sometimes quickly criticizing others when he shouldn't. Pessimism, always expecting the worst. So again, optimism is thinking the glass is half full. Pessimism is thinking the glass is half empty. This one's actually more than half full. It's a little closer. So if you are pessimistic, if you say Joe is a pessimistic person, it means they always think something bad is going to happen. We're going to have to wait 3 hours before we get on the plane. We're going to be stuck in traffic if we drive to Toronto. Always thinking that whatever you're going to do isn't going to work out properly. Let's see here. Manipulative, controlling others for personal gain. If you know someone who is manipulative, this is something that irritates me a lot. A manipulative person tries to control all the people around them. That's why I have the image of someone with the puppet strings. I have unfortunately had this situation happen to me once in my life at a previous place of employment. A person was manipulative in a very negative way. They were always trying to get people to not like each other. They were always trying to get people to feel like other people had it out. It was not. My current job is way better, but at a previous job, I did work with someone who was manipulative. They tried to, if you've worked with someone like this, you know what I mean. They're always trying to change things for their own gain. Perfectionism, setting unrealistically high standards. I have this flaw. Some people think this is a good character trait, but it's usually a bad character trait. If I was a total perfectionist, I would never release an English lesson on YouTube, because I would think that I had to keep changing things to make it better. But at some point, you have to put the video online. So someone who is a perfectionist can sometimes have trouble finishing something because they never think it's good enough. They are setting unrealistically high standards for themselves. I think everyone is a perfectionist to a certain degree, but you have to be comfortable with getting things 99% done and then move on to the next thing, not 100% done, because that is very, very challenging. So perfectionism, setting unrealistically high standards. Oversensitivity, taking things too personally. What this means is someone might even say a positive thing to you, but you interpret it as being a negative thing. For instance, if someone said, you changed your hair, and you said, yeah, I'm trying a new haircut. That's somewhat positive. But if someone said, oh, you've changed your hair, and you say, what, does it not look good? Do you not like it? That would be oversensitivity. The person is being oversensitive to whatever someone is saying to you. Greed, an excessive desire for more. This is something that I think all human beings have. Remember, I said some things are on a scale of 1 to 10. I think we all naturally desire more. And I think it depends on how strongly you experience greed. Some people are very greedy, and some people aren't very greedy at all. But we all want enough food, and we all want a house or apartment. We all want things. But greed is when you really want things. So greed would be trying to get more money, even though you have billions of dollars, because you just want more and more and more. So greed, an excessive desire for more money, more things, more cars, more houses. Like I own one house. Some people who are rich own 5 houses and they want to buy a 6th house. That's a hard word to say, by the way, for English speakers. 6th. They want to buy a 6th house. Gossiping, spreading rumors, or private information. So let me explain the difference. Saying things that aren't true or things that stretch the truth about someone else is considered gossiping, but also telling people things about someone else that is supposed to be private is also gossiping. So if you know that your neighbors down the road are fighting and you know they fight every night, they're always arguing, and you start telling other people, oh, they're going to get a divorce, that would be considered gossiping. Or even telling someone, oh, they fight every night, I hear them arguing every night. That might not be information they want other people to know. So gossiping, spreading rumors, or private information. Closed-mindedness. Closed-mindedness. It's kind of hard to say the second one. Refusing to consider different ideas or perspectives. As people get older, they usually tend to become more closed-minded. They tend to think that their way is the right way and everyone else is wrong, and they don't want to hear other ideas. They just think, I know what I'm doing. I have experience. I am going to do this my way. So closed-mindedness, refusing to consider different ideas or perspectives, can be a problem. I would argue that as teachers get older, they become a little more closed-minded. They don't want to try new things. They are not excited by new things. They just want to do it the old way. I am not that kind of teacher. I love new things. One of the reasons I got into teaching is because I knew technology would be changing teaching. And I actually like seeing that, learning about it, and doing it. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm very low on closed-mindedness, in my humble opinion. Overdependence, relying too heavily on others. This can also happen with elderly people. They become overdependent on someone else. And sometimes it falls on one person in the family. Sometimes in a family, let's say the parents are in their 90s and only one of their children lives close to them. They might be over dependent on that one child because everyone else lives really far away. That's actually quite common in Canada, where someone might have 3 adult children. They're in their late 80s or early 90s and they need a lot of care, and they become over dependent on one child. So relying too heavily on others. It also means they can't take care of themselves. I think I'm forgetting that aspect of overdependence. This can also happen in the workplace. Someone new might start and they don't have all the skills to do the job. They might be overdependent on someone who is training them. Maybe they suffer a little bit from insecurity as well, and they become overdependent. Passive aggressiveness, expressing anger indirectly. So I admitted that I am a little bit short-tempered. I express anger quickly. I'm also honest in a bad way. I say things like I see them. But someone who is passive aggressive will be more subtle. They will be expressing anger indirectly. This is a sign that could go on a fridge at your work. Helpful refrigerator chart. Did I bring this in? Yes. Eat or drink all you want. Did I bring this in? No. Don't touch. Not yours. Sometimes when you share a fridge at work, or maybe you live with roommates and share a fridge, we would call it a communal fridge. Sometimes people eat other people's food. And a passive aggressive person, someone with passive aggressiveness, won't talk to the person directly. They won't go and say, stop eating my food. Stop eating my food. Instead, they might put a little sign up, a little bit humorous, a little more passive, like they're not directly talking to that person. But I did there was a more rude sign that I found, but I didn't use that one, but it would have been good as well. Overconfidence, believing too much in your abilities. This is something that young people are often guilty of. They believe they're better at doing something than they are. And, this is a flaw, but it can sometimes be a good character trait as well. Believing too much in your own abilities can actually help you become a good teacher because you're willing to try things. And then if you fail, you just try again. But sometimes overconfidence is a flaw, like where you just think you don't need to learn new things because you know everything. You learned everything you needed to know before age 20, and now you can do whatever and be successful at whatever you want. We would consider that overconfidence, believing too much in your own abilities. Hey, let's do some questions. Let's go to members only chat. Thank you so much to Know That for the 5 membership gifts. Moon Knight, Zach Lynn, Diego, Rebecca, Bio Blue. You have Know That to thank for that. Thank you, Know That. It's very generous of you. Generosity is not a flaw, it's a virtue. So thank you very much for showing that virtue. I was going to back up and say something else. I can't remember what I was going to say. Brent says the teacher next door to me this year was super manipulative. She was fired mid-year. Crazy story. Oh, I'm going to have to hear that story sometime in the future. Okay, let me go and turn on members only chat. If you are not a member, you don't need to leave. The lesson will continue in about 10 minutes. But at this point in time, I will keep answering questions from the queue, but I will answer questions directly from the chat from members as well. If you are interested, I highly encourage that you become a member of the channel. You get a lesson plan on Mondays, an extra video on Wednesdays, a transcript of every Tuesday video. You get to have your name in green during live lessons and a crown beside your name. And I'm working on something that I don't want to talk too much about, and you'll have early access to it. I'm not selling a course or anything like that. I'm not a course person, but I'm building something. And I might need some people to help test it out in a couple weeks. So that's your little hint there. And it's something fun. That's all I'll say. John Wedge says, don't forget to give a thumbs up, folks. Michaela says, hello, hello. Know That says to Modags, yep, I thought this way I can support Bob in 2 ways. Yes, thank you very much. Oh, and now Mode has given memberships. Thanks, Mode. So Rez, you can thank Mode Ags for your membership. I think it's 30 days you get a membership. So you can experiment or play around with all of the things you get. Know That says, hey, Bob, what are your and Jen's plans for today and the weekend? Has Jen already started putting together her bouquets for next week's market? Yes. She hasn't started putting together bouquets, but she has been harvesting flowers and putting them in the cooler. And also, we're going to a Jays game. There's a school trip to a Jays game. So I'm going to be changing my shirt before I go to work, wearing a Blue Jays shirt. Hafia says, ooh, early access. Yes, early access to something when it's in its testing phase. We'll see what happens after that. I'm pretty excited about that, but I don't want to talk too much about it. Let me see. I'll get a question from the form on the screen. From Amap, hello, sir. I'm a thumbnail designer and I want to redesign all of your already uploaded video thumbnails. If you are also interested, then tell and reply to my DM. So Amap, I will just say this. I don't mind my thumbnails. I get 1 or 2 emails a day from people saying my thumbnails are trash or I should redesign them. And I'm not gonna. I'll be honest with you. They work. Some videos do really well. So I'm good. That's how you would say that in English. Thanks for the offer, but I'm good. Yeah, I get a lot of emails about thumbnails, but I don't know, maybe someday one of my kids will become a graphic designer and they'll redesign them. But at this point in time, I'm too busy making stuff to think about that. Let's see, from Mohammed. Hi, Bob. It's been a while since my last question on your live stream, but I'm still watching though, so don't worry. My question is, do you still remember me? Please say yes. So Mohammed, there is a small problem with saying that I remember you, and that's that That is a very common name. So yes, I do remember during live streams over the last number of years, there have been a lot of people with your name who have participated. So I don't know how to specifically say I remember you. So sorry about that. As I said, honesty. So I just say it like it is sometimes. You have a very cool common name, and a lot of people have it. Okay, let's go to the chat. Ricardo says, hello, chat. Good morning. Very cool. Michaela says, it's worth it. Thank you. John Wedge says, we're helping you to buy a new computer, Bob. It's a joke, but it's always good to support you. Thank you very much. Wanda, hi, Teacher Bob. How do you correct students' flaws? Thanks. Have a nice day. So there's a couple of ways. I believe in addressing flaws directly. Like if a student is late for class, I like saying, you're late for class. You need to work on that. But I also think modeling is very important. I try not to be late for class as a teacher. I don't want to be late for class because then students see that maybe that's okay. But as a teacher, I'm pretty clear. Like I just directly tell students what they can and cannot do. And hopefully they understand I am helping them become better people when I do that. Freddie says, Bob, I think that people who check 10 times in a row if their door is really closed is a big flaw as well, isn't it? Yes. I sometimes check twice, though, not 10 times. Key Bark, I'm overconfident sometimes and self-abased another times. Yeah, it can kind of go with your mood, right? If you're in a good mood, you can be very, very confident. Hafia's trash? No, they're not. Yeah, I should actually read some of the emails. They're kind of funny. There's so many promises of an amazing life if I let someone help me with my SEO or something like that. Like a lot of emails lately. No, that says Bob, regarding your YouTube from Tuesday, do you know how many kilometers you covered in total that day? Did you check your mileage before the tour and after you returned? Thanks. I haven't yet, but I will map it out because I track all my kilometers to enter them as a business expense. So I will have to do that. Minos Mill, good morning, Bob. Are the words arrogant and one-up somewhat related? A little bit. Like when you try to one-up someone, you try to be better than them. So right now, Vitor is leading in the chat. And if someone started chatting a lot, if it was actually working, they would be trying to one-up them. They would be trying to do better. Minos Mill did that one. Mode, member for 48 months. Thanks for spending 10 hours to make the latest lesson. That was a bit of, I got up really early. You probably can't totally tell in the lesson, but the beach, the campground and then the beach were done at like 6:30 in the morning. But I did rearrange them in the lesson because the Preply ad was in the middle. I wanted it to be in the middle, not the beginning. So anyways, it was a long day. And then editing, I don't know why. I'm learning DaVinci Resolve instead of Premiere Pro. So that made the editing a bit longer as well. Michaelo, even if you not always have enough time to watch all videos, there is a unique opportunity. Yes, thank you. Ralph, your thumbnails are not trash. They are a cooperative design for your channel. I recognize every video in milliseconds, and that's exactly how it should be. Yeah, I did a test once where I made different thumbnails for my live lessons, and people were like, "No, I recognize the thumbnail. I click it, and that's all you want a thumbnail to do." Hafiez, I recommend a new show department. Question, I bet you will like it. To relate to the topic, the main character has a lot of flaws like superior, complex, rude, and selfish. Imagine Sherlock Holmes. Oh, Department Q. Yes, that would be cool. We tend to like people like Sherlock Holmes, even though some of Sherlock Holmes' character traits are considered flaws. Hafiez, don't want to spoil the plot, but it's related to police detective work cases and set in Edinburgh, Scotland. Cool. What is your power sides as personally on your opinion? I'm not quite understanding the question, Mikhail. Let me read it again. Like, what's the most powerful part of my personality is probably determination. I'm extreme. Like, if I decide to do something, I just do it. I sometimes put way too much time into it. Mohammed asks you, did you remember him? I do. remember a lot of Mohammeds. That's my answer. Hafiz, DaVinci Resolve is better, you think? Yeah, what happened, I like Premiere Pro, but Jen and I both use Premiere Pro for our YouTube channels. We don't edit at the same time, but Premiere Pro was starting to tell us we couldn't have it installed on 3 computers. We could only have it on 2. And I have Premiere Pro on my desktop and on my laptop at work and on this computer. And it was just becoming annoying, and I didn't want to pay more money. So I bought DaVinci Resolve instead, which is a one-time fee. It's actually free, but a one-time fee, and you don't have to pay monthly. So that's where I am at with that. Let me get to my control panel here and turn off members only chat. Thank you so much for being members. We will get back to the lesson in just a second. Oh, I'm seeing Hafiz is saying, I'm guessing the opposite of flaws, which was the previous lesson. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Know that, member for 27 months. Even without your little surprise, it's a great experience being one of your members. Thanks for everything, Bob. Thank you for the endorsement. That is very, very nice. Should we get back to the lesson? I think we should. Let's finish this lesson off. I turned off members only chat. And here we go. Neglectfulness, failing to give proper attention or care. I put a picture of a dog behind a fence because when I think about neglectfulness, it reminds me of a neighbor I had once where they would go to work and their dog would be in their garage, and they would have like a fence along. They'd open their garage door and there'd be like a fence. I'm not explaining it well. And the dog just looks sad all day. And I know when you go to work, your dog has to be somewhere, but failing to give proper attention or care. I think sometimes people have pets and there is a level of neglectfulness. They are neglectful of that animal. People are sometimes neglectful of their children, and that's a very sad thing in the world as well. So neglectfulness, failing to give proper attention or care. Envy, wanting what someone else has and feeling bitter about it. Envy and jealousy are basically the same thing. Jealousy is the more common way to describe it. But when you are envious, when you have envy, it means you see someone else's success, or you see their house, or you see their car, and you're just annoyed that you don't have the same thing. So envy, wanting what someone else has and feeling bitter about it. Yes, you can see this person has won. That person is experiencing envy. Intolerance, not accepting differences. I didn't know how to explain this one without getting into too serious of topics, so I looked for a humorous way to explain intolerance. This sign says, elves only, do not enter. So obviously the elves that live here or work here, elves are magical, fictional creatures. They don't exist, but let's pretend they do. Obviously, elves don't like humans. They probably don't like dwarves. They certainly don't like orcs. Intolerance would be saying, only elves are allowed here, and only elves are right, and no one else is allowed to be in this space. Elves only, do not enter. Intolerance, not accepting differences. In the last lesson, I explained tolerance, and I think we could use a lot more tolerance in the world where people are accepting of different views from other people. Cowardice, avoiding confrontation or difficult choices, to be afraid. The classic elephant and the mouse. The elephant is a bit of a coward. The elephant is afraid of the mouse. The elephant is on the chair because they do not want to be near the mouse. So cowardice. The opposite would be bravery. Like bravery would be a knight fighting a dragon. Cowardice, someone who is a coward would run away. They would go in the opposite direction. Blame shifting, making mistakes and then saying someone else did it. And it can also be when someone does something bad to you and you complain and they say, well, they were bad to you because you did something to them. Like, it's basically when someone is a jerk, but then they say they were a jerk because you were a jerk first, or someone does something bad and then says someone else did it. So blame shifting, making mistakes, and then saying someone else did it. The right thing to do, there's an English phrase, to own up to. To own up to your mistakes means you make a mistake and you say, yep, that was my fault. I'll fix it. That's the right thing to do. Overthinking, worrying excessively and second guessing everything. So you can see this guy has a whole bunch of thought bubbles around his head. He looks pretty happy for someone who is overthinking something. But sometimes when you plan something, you can think about it too much. So let's say you're planning a party and you're trying to figure out how is everyone going to get to the party. You're overthinking it. Just send an invitation. They'll figure out how to get to the party. And you might be thinking, what food should I tell everyone to bring? And you're overthinking it. Just say, if you could bring something as a dessert, if you could bring some drinks, like let people choose what to bring. You don't have to tell people exactly what to bring. You don't need to overthink the situation. Control issues, needing to take charge of situations or people. This is a bit like being manipulative. When someone is a control freak, that's the term we use. They need to be in charge of every aspect of something. So a control freak would say, I'm having a party. If you bring food, it has to be sandwiches. Everyone needs to wear white for some reason. Don't be late. If you're late, we're not going to let you in. You have to stay for 5 hours before you, like that's someone who has control issues, someone who is needing to take charge of situations or people. And we would call them a control freak. I can be a bit of a control freak, but that's when I'm doing something where I'm the only one. This is another reason why I like to work by myself. When I make a video, I'm a control freak, but it's okay because I'm the only one working on it. If I had a team of people, they'd probably get annoyed with me at some point in time. Distrustfulness, assuming the worst about others' intentions. A good example of this would be if at work, your boss has a lot of cameras so that your boss can watch all the workers. And if you have on your computer at work, if you work on a computer, a keystroke detector, so your boss can log in to their computer to see if you're working or not, that would be distrustfulness. It's better, I think, to trust people, at least to a certain degree. But distrustfulness, assuming the worst about others' intentions, and then that example would be a good one. A boss who waits by the front door to see when everyone comes to work. That's distrustfulness. Lack of empathy, to not care about others' feelings. So a good example would be if someone's crying and someone laughs at them. That would be a lack of empathy. Empathy, again, is feeling the same thing someone else is feeling. So if someone is happy, you feel happy with them. If someone is sad, you feel sad with them. The lack of empathy that some people have is kind of annoying. So to not care about others' feelings. Again, the example would be someone is very, very sad and someone makes a joke about the fact that they are sad. Someone laughs at them because they are sad. That would certainly be a lack of empathy. Hey, let's do some questions and then wrap this lesson up, and then I can go to work and go on my field trip today. Let me see. Sorry. This one, I didn't understand this one at first. It's from Geddy Lee. Hi, Bob. I'm here with Alex, and he would like to listen to some examples. The reason I'm laughing is because there is a band called Rush, a very famous Canadian band. And there are two remaining members. Neil Peart has passed away. But Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson are members of that band. And I'm pretty sure they're not watching my English lesson. But apparently Geddy Lee, the lead singer, bass player of the band Rush, and Alex Lifeson, the lead guitarist, apparently are watching, and Alex would like to listen to some examples. Well, Geddy and Alex, you can rewind or rewatch this later. That will help you. Let me see here. From Hobart, hello, Teacher Bob. How to control our emotions or feelings when work with people who are easily get angry? That's a tough one. I would say if you are working somewhere where someone gets angry a lot, like every day and multiple times a day, I personally would look for a different job. I thankfully have a workplace where most days people are quite happy and hardworking and helpful. They have a lot of good qualities. If I was working somewhere where someone got angry with me all the time, I think I legit would start looking for another job. Yeah, it's not worth it to work with angry people. Okay, that's the lesson. Those are all the questions. Hafia says, oof, control issues, micromanager. Yeah, a micromanager is a manager who is distrustful as well, who doesn't trust you to get the work done. And I wanted to scroll back to see. Okay, my favorite Bob's thumbnail is the members only video number 14. I think Bob should have done the same with the number 70. Yeah, those I got lazy on those thumbnails after a while. Hafia says Bob is talking about elves in Tolkien world, while in my mind, in the Christmas Santa world. Yeah, there's a couple different kinds of elves, aren't there? The kinds with bows and arrows, and the kinds that make toys for children. Slightly different. Mode. It would have made more sense if coward meant walking towards a cow, don't you think? Yes, he was walking coward. Is that a new word we've invented? Which means that you're walking towards a cow. That's a good joke. By the way, being able to joke in a language that isn't your native language is an excellent sign of progress. Cat Diary says, thank you, Bob. Very useful topic because each person has both virtues and flaws. It's great when we can have balance. Yes, I would say the same. Work on becoming, to work on your good character traits and also work on reducing your bad character traits. That's all we can do. Hafia says it's going to be June soon. Yep, there'll be a live stream next week, Saturday, for all of you that like coming to that, and Friday as well. No, that says, thank you so much for the awesome hour, Bob. It was uber fun hanging out with you and being here. I wish you and your family a wonderful Friday and weekend. Well, thank you. Hey, a couple things before you go. Number one, that was fast, eh? Hey, a couple things before you go. Number one, this lesson will come out. A shorter version will come out, and it will have all of the viewer questions removed, and it will be a pure lesson about flaws. Number two, please watch my lesson from this past week, and I'll put a link to it. I put a bunch of time into driving all over and making an outdoor lesson. The video's doing great. I'm not like begging for views, but if you haven't seen it, please go watch the Let's Learn English Outside video. I think you'll enjoy it. You'll see a beach and a vineyard and a pier and a sports field and a skate park and a few other things in my area. And I'll probably do a part 2 in the summer because there were a number of places that people mentioned they would like to see. What else was I going to say? Oh, a big shout out to Preply for sponsoring that video. The deal still is there. I'll put it in the link in the description here below as well. But if you go to that video, or if you look in the description below in a few minutes, there will be a link to Preply. You can get 50% off your first English lesson if you use that link. So if you want to do that, you should do that. I think some of you are at that point where you should probably get an English speaking partner. Let's see. John says June 22nd will be my birthday again. I don't know if it's good or bad. Yeah, they happen every year, don't they? Birthdays. So anyways, I hope you all have a great weekend. I hope that you enjoyed this lesson. I hope you were able to learn some new English words and phrases. And I will see you new video Tuesday, live lesson next Friday, live lesson as well next week, Saturday, a Q&A lesson. If the weather's nice, we will be outside. Bye, everybody. Have a great day. I'm just getting the, just going to grab the link, the Preply link for a second from my other video and paste it in the video below. Where is that? Here it is. Copy. And then go here and go, where am I going? I need to go to, do you enjoy it? I do this in class sometimes and my students don't enjoy it, or I'm actually doing stuff. Okay, save. If you refresh the screen, I'm going to do that myself. And if you look in the description below, you should now see a link to Preply. If you use that link, you will get 50% off your first lesson. Enjoy. find a good tutor, practice some English conversation. It's fun. Bye.